All right, today we are going to look at trig values for any circle. Everything we've done up to this point is looking at trig values that are just for the unit circle. So what if it's not a unit circle? What if we don't have radius of 1 is what we're going to look at. So we're going to be looking at trig values for a circle with a radius of r. We don't know what the radius is. It's still going to be centered at the origin though. So you can still think about our circle, x squared plus y squared equals r squared, because it's still circled at or centered at the origin, so it's the h and k are 0. But we're going to have to use this equation to figure out our unknown depending on what is given to us. So first we're going to have some formulas, just like we did over the unit circle. We had our x and y's and sine and cosine. We're going to have some of those for any circle. So we'll start here. We have our trig values. You're going to have some angle in here. We're going to call it angle theta. And then you're going to have a right triangle, so an x, a y, and then an r. This time we just don't know what our r is. We're going to have to find it. So sine theta is going to be y over r. Think about it, before it was just y, but our r was 1. Cosine is x over r. Again, remember when our first ones, r was always 1. Now it won't be. Tangent theta is y over x. Cosecant, r over y. Remember that these two are just reciprocals of each other, so they flip. Secant, r over x. These two, again, are just reciprocals. Tangent and cotangent are reciprocals, so we know cotangent theta is x over y. So we're going to use these now to figure out what our trig values are going to be given different situations. So for example, if I have a point on the terminal side of angle theta is given, find the exact values of the 6 trig functions of our theta. So we still have to just figure out. We know here we're given an ordered pair, right? So we know if we were to graph that ordered pair, we'd be at -3, 4. That means I'm up here in quadrant 2, because this is telling me that if I were to draw in a right triangle right here, okay, this is -3, this is 4, we have to figure out what r is going to be. So use our Pythagorean theorem, our x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So this is going to be -3 squared plus 4 squared equals r squared. So 9 plus 16 equals r squared. 25 equals r squared. So square root this. R is radius. It's always going to be positive, so our radius is 5. So now I know my r is 5. So that tells us now that our x is -3, our y is 4, and our r is 5. So from that, we can now find all of our trig functions. We need sine of theta. Well, sine of theta is y over x, right? Or y over r, sorry, is y over r. So this is going to be 4/5. Cosine theta is x over r, so -3/5. Tangent theta is y over x, so tangent is 4 over -3 or -4/3, however you want to write it. And then remember, everything are reciprocal. So sine, if I want cosecant theta, I just have to do the reciprocal of my sine, so it's 5/4. Secant theta, reciprocal of cosine, so -5/3. And cotangent theta, reciprocal of tangent, so -3/4. So we found our trig functions. So that's if you're given a point. It could be in any one of the quadrants. You just have to decide what you'll be given x and y, and you have to find r. Okay, here's another example. Find the exact value of the remaining 5 trig functions given. So it's given me that secant is -5/2, and I know that my sine is greater than 0. This means that my y is positive. Because if my sine is greater than 0, it's a positive value, and sine is our y when we think about it. So if we look at our thing right here, secant of theta from our rules is r over x. Okay, well that's going to tell us that we have our, this is -5/2. R is always going to be positive, so this is telling me that r is 5 and x is -2. So we have to figure out what y is using our Pythagorean again. So our x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So negative 2 squared, I don't know, y squared equals 5 squared. Okay, so this is going to be 4 plus y squared equals 25. So y squared equals 21, and we square root it. Up here, the sign greater than 0 meant y is positive, so that means y is going to be the positive of our square root 21. So now I know r, I know x, and I know y. So from that, we can find our trig function. So sine theta, remember, so our sine theta is our y over r. So in this case, it's radical 21 over 5. Okay, cosine theta, well, cosine theta is x over r, or it's also the reciprocal of secant. So cosine theta is negative 2/5. Tangent theta is y over x. So tangent theta is going to be radical 21 over x, negative 2. Okay, cosecant. So cosecant is opposite or reciprocal of sine, so it would be 5 over radical 21, but we can't have our radical on the bottom again. So if we multiply, remember, multiply by radical 21 on top and bottom, would give me 5 rad 21 all over 21 for my cosecant. Okay, and then our last one, that was 4. Our last one we have is cotangent. I'm going to move up here so that everybody can see it. So cotangent of theta, remember it's the reciprocal of tangent, so it's going to be negative 2 over radical 21. Again, I can't have that radical on the bottom, so it's going to be negative 2 rad 21 all over 21 when we get rid of our radical. So there we found the 5 trig functions, given some information. So one last one we're going to look at. Here we're given sine and cosine are given. We're going to find the exact values of the 4 remaining trig functions. Okay, so when it gives us our 2, this is going to tell me, remember that our sine theta is y over r. So this tells me that y is negative 1 and r is 3. Cosine theta, remember, is x over r. We already know r is 3, which means this has to be my y, so y equals negative 2 rad 5. So now that I know what everything is, just kidding, that's my x. It's x over r. X is negative 2 rad 5. So then we can fill in what we don't know. So let's do our tangent theta. So remember, tangent is y over x. So tangent is going to be negative 1 over negative 2 rad 5. Well, negative over negative would make them positive. I can't have the rad 5 on bottom, so I multiply by rad 5 on top and bottom. So this would give me rad 5 over 10 for my tangent. Cosecant of theta, remember cosecant is the reciprocal of our sine. If sine is negative 1/3, cosecant's negative 3. Secant theta, it's a bad S right there, is the reciprocal of our cosine. So it would be negative 3 over 2 rad 5. Again, I can't have the rad 5, so multiply by rad 5 on top and bottom. Gives me negative 3 rad 5 over 10 for my secant. And my last one is cotangent of theta. Cotangent is our x over y, or the reciprocal of tangent. So this is going to be negative 2 rad 5 over negative 1, which simplifies to just 2 rad 5. So you're going to be given different situations today on your worksheet like this where you're going to have to figure out the missing trig functions and what we have. Let me know if you have any questions.